What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another War Thunder video. So I've been kicking around an idea for a video ever since I took my break. There's all kinds of topics about War Thunder that I could talk about, and one just keeps popping up, and it's repair costs. Here we are, December 7th. I'm recording this. It was just over a year ago, and Kirill, the CCO for Gaijin, did an interview. I think it was November of 2019, so just over a year ago, when War Thunder was celebrating their seventh anniversary. Fast forward about a month ago, we celebrated the 8th anniversary, and repair costs are still a problem. And so, I'm wondering. Here's a question to Kirill: what can be done to rein in repair costs, from your perspective? Because it seems like nothing is really changing. I used to dismiss complaints from players in the comments section and in the in-game chat, about repair costs as just being complaints by people who either didn't have premium accounts or were, frankly, noobs. And I know that's not a very polite thing to say, but it's just the fact of the matter. And yet, here we are in almost 2021 now, and even if you are a good player, you are adversely affected by repair costs. You're just not directly affected. If someone who doesn't have a premium account or who is bad at the game cannot afford to play a lineup of vehicles, after they die in, say, Tank RB, they leave. Say, for example, this lineup right here, 7.0, Great Britain. It's a fantastic lineup. Centurion Mark III, Carnarvon, Conway's kind of awful. Take out the premiums, add in the FV4202, and you've got an absolutely fantastic lineup of vehicles. But if you look at the repair costs, you're looking at $16,000 for the FV. Carnarvon's almost $20,000. Centurion's over $12,000. And if you're not a good player, or you don't have a premium account, people leave after they die, and that puts your team at a significant disadvantage. It's not just the players who have the Roycat or the XM1 or the T72 terms, the premium, the high tier premium players who spawn in, die, and leave. It's not just them. It's people who have lineups, but they cannot afford to play the lineups. Now, in that interview, Kirill says that repair costs are to balance the risk and reward aspect of a vehicle. The risk is the repair cost. You don't have to instantly repair a vehicle after a match, but you certainly can, and if you want to, certain vehicles are going to have a very high repair cost. The better a vehicle is, the higher the repair cost typically is. Then we have the reward part, of the risk versus reward, and that is the Silver Lion and Research Point modifier. Why is it that the reward part does not get changed very often, or at least not as significantly as the risk part? It seems to me like we are punishing players more than we are rewarding them. And this punishment, it's affecting players. It's getting them so that they don't play Britain. They get down to this tier, and they see these repair costs, and it just puts them off. They don't play Britain, or they get to France, and they don't play the Lorraine 40T. They don't even. Some of them won't even touch France. They won't even touch Great Britain. They'll just stick to the main three trees, because those vehicles are the most commonly played. They have pretty much across the board very fair repair costs, with the obvious exceptions of some of the heavy bombers. And because they're not necessarily playing Great Britain, because they're not necessarily playing France, that affects your bottom line. If they're not playing these nations, They're not buying premium vehicles. They're not buying talismans. Why are we basically cutting them off? Why aren't we inviting people in to play these nations by lowering the repair costs? To me, what we've done here with the constant increase of repair costs for good performing vehicles is it's kind of gone away from what free to play, or it's gone away from what free to play is. When I think of War Thunder, one of the most controversial things about the game is that it has this feature: ultra low graphics, or ULQ. Play this game long enough and you've heard of it. It's very controversial among some people. Some folks feel like it's cheating. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it basically lowers draw the draw distance for trees and buildings and whatnot. It gets rid of grass. It makes basically it makes it easier for people on lower end PCs to play the game. When I started playing in 2013, I needed to use a ULQ, or ultra low quality, and that was when only air battles were a thing. I it's an awful graphics setting, but it's useful. From a game developer's perspective, it's useful, and for a free to play developer, it's incredibly useful because the whole point for you is to get as many people to install this game on their computer as you can. Because the hope is that one day they will eventually spend a couple of dollars on your game, right? They may not be able to afford a new graphics card to play this game on high graphics settings, but maybe he can scratch together $5 or $10 to buy a nice little premium tank or a premium plane, maybe a few days of premium, whatever it may be. Maybe they can spend a couple of dollars on this game. With vehicles like the B-29, you've got it increased up to battle rating 7.0, which is basically its practical limit. It really would be silly to put it any higher. Its battle, its repair cost is up to 55,000 silver lines, and I get it. The B-29 is very, very good if left unattended. If you ignore the B-29 in an ARB match, there's a very good chance that it's going to win the game for the American team. It has a very big payload. It can knock out mini bases. It can, of course, defend itself quite well because of its many turrets. It's a force to be reckoned with. I understand it, and I understand why you would want to increase the repair cost. I understand why you would want to increase the battle rating, but it's just ridiculous at this point. When War Thunder celebrated its 8th anniversary, I tried to take advantage of some of the discounts, and I purchased a similar plane to this. I grabbed the Chinese Tu-4. It was brand new, put a talisman on it, and I decided to use that in some ARB matches for a couple of hours, and I quite quickly farmed a whole bunch of RP. It was enough RP to unlock 3.5 jets, and it was stupidly fast, stupidly easy. So I understand why you would want to increase the battle rating of these heavy bombers, increase the repair costs, but it's just silly. Instead, you could take the B-29, slash the repair cost down to, let's say, 10,000 silver lines. Now I know that's going to sound ridiculous, but there is a way. All you have to do is cut the rewards. See, they got a silver line modifier of 4.1. You could slash that down to 2. RP modifier, slash that down to 1. Right there, that alone would be what a free-to-play developer would do. It would make the player play a very powerful, very good vehicle more to grind than would to punish them by giving them ridiculous repair costs. But that wouldn't be just it. Because this is a free-to-play game, we also need a pay-to-progress mechanic. And War Thunder has that with the Talisman. The Talisman offers plus 100% RP, so even with this reduction in RP gain and Silver Lion gain to the B29, you could purchase the Talisman, which will give you that plus 100% to your RP gain for 1900 gold. But a new mechanic you could add is a Silver Lion Talisman. Spend another 1900, you can get plus 100% Silver Lions. Take that another step further, you can purchase a premium combined talisman, which gives you plus 100% RP and plus 100% Silver Lions. The battle ratings go up, the repair costs go up, and yet the top performing vehicles are still the top performing vehicles. Why is that? It's because the bad players can't afford to play these vehicles. Only the good ones play them. The KD ratios stay high, the win rates stay high. It's time to try a new approach. Krill, you talk about how the repair costs are a balancing mechanic, not necessarily of the vehicle, but of the balance of risk and reward. We've tried the risk. Now it's time to balance the reward. It's time to lower the rewards on some of these high performing vehicles. Anyway, that's going to do it for me for today, guys. I know you're going to have opinions on this, and that's fine. Leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Take care, guys.